God f***ing damn it, I always do this with this damn f***ing fuck-ass puzzle. Hello, my name is Ian. You may recognize me from TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or anywhere else. I'm so glad that you're here. This is another installment of the Weekly Monday series where I write a Substack post about the weekly topic and then I come on YouTube and I talk about it while I do a craft. Today's craft is a puzzle and we're doing this one. I picked it because it has popcorn in it. I already separated out the edge pieces to help myself and I just know that I'm not going to be finishing this puzzle in this video. I've really enjoyed this series so far because it kind of forces me once a week to do something that's like a little bit crafty and artsy, which I think I need to do because I'm a little bit of a workaholic sometimes. I notice that I have a hard time just letting myself relax and do something that's good, maybe for like my creativity or for my soul. This is a good way to keep me grounded, but also make me feel like I'm doing work, which I understand that is a little bit crazy and maybe I should work on that, but we're not gonna do that right now. I titled this week's topic, I'm glad that Trump hired a qualified man instead of Kristi Noem. Obviously that title might sound a little misogynistic, but I think that's the point because I want to lure people in that maybe would not necessarily agree with me on most topics. Something that I've talked about on my platform before is the fact that this administration uses women as disposable objects that they can use to promote their diverse image one day and then just leave in the dumps the next, the second that it becomes convenient for them. And that's exactly what happened with Kristi Noem this last week. If you aren't aware already, Kristi Noem is, or I guess was, the Secretary of Homeland Security. She oversaw ICE and she was kind of the spokesperson for everything that went down in Minneapolis. She doubled down on everything that ICE did in Minneapolis and was absolutely horrible about it. She got let go from her position of Homeland Security Secretary last week and she's going to be replaced with Markwayne Mullin, which is a senator from Oklahoma. Horrible man. Kristi Noem is now going to have some bullshit title also within the department, but it's like the envoy for the Shield of the Americas or some shit like that. I don't really know. It's a useless, dumb title that they moved her to so that Markwayne Mullin could take over. Now, obviously, I'm happy that she's not going to be in this position because she's horrible at her job, but the person that replaced her is also going to be horrible at his job. He's still going to stand by ICE, still going to increase their funding. He's still going to do all of the same things that Kristi Noem was doing. So why am I glad that he's there? To get to that point, I'm going to go a few steps back. I want you to think right now about how many people have been proven to be affiliated with Epstein or to have participated in Epstein's crimes. If you don't know the answer off the top of your head, I'll tell you it's over 300 people. Now the next question, how many people are currently serving time in prison for Epstein's crimes? 1. Ghislaine Maxwell. Obviously, Jeffrey was arrested and then he killed himself in 2018. I'm not counting that because he's dead. This to me is one of the most glaring examples that patriarchy loves when a woman will take the fall. The men who are in those files have no issue with Ghislaine being in prison because she is not one of them and she never will be. She's a woman. So let's talk about this administration and how they use women as objects. If you hear the trash truck in the back, sorry about that. Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. We have all seen her go off on reporters in the press room. From Alligator Alcatraz to ICE to Venezuela to Iran, whatever it is, she will defend Trump no matter what, and she is stuck on the front line to defend all of his actions. If somebody asks her a question that she doesn't like or she doesn't think that she can answer without incriminating herself or the administration, she immediately defaults to personal attack.
Of course the president supports peaceful protests. What a stupid question. Raquel.
Is there any evidence on that he wasn't aware of it?
You're a reporter. You should find out.
Okay,
Sean.
Let me just get to the premise of your question that both of you have raised. I think it's frankly ridiculous that anyone in this room would even suggest that President Trump is doing anything for his own benefit.
Which to me is kind of a telltale sign that she doesn't know what she's doing and she also knows that the administration is in the wrong, but it is literally her job to play the PR game and to try to minimize damage as much as possible. It's funny because I feel like she treats people who ask her questions as if her job isn't to answer people's questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Patty or for me? No?
I have a question.
No. Anybody? Okay. We'll see you all later. The president will be at his dinner later this evening.
She gets so frustrated trying to defend this administration. Why don't you just fucking quit? I digress. Another great example of this is Pam Bondi. I'm sure you saw her hearing on February 11th, I think it was, where she just sat there and defended all of the redactions in the Epstein files. She sat there and claimed that Donald Trump did nothing wrong.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I
anything.
did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
You're a lawyer, not even a lawyer.
It's disgusting and horrendous and deplorable. But yet again, she as a woman is put on the front lines to defend the actions of men. Also, I will never forget that photo of her just completely ignoring all of the survivors that were present in the room. That was so fucked. She also has adopted this idea that anyone who wants justice for the Epstein survivors is just out to attack Donald Trump, which kind of, yes, that's true, but that's because he's in the files so many fucking times. Anyway, we're gonna calm down. Moving on to Kristi Noem. She has been a complete failure at her job, and everybody knows that. From handling Minneapolis absolutely horribly, to lying blatantly about Renee Good and Alex Preddy being domestic terrorists, to doubling down on that, and then sending their family well wishes, but also not just outwardly saying that she was wrong to call them domestic terrorists. That woman is incapable of admitting that she has ever done anything wrong, or that the administration has ever done anything wrong, and I'm pretty sure she's on very direct orders to act that way. And there's the fact that she spent $220 million of taxpayer money for useless Department of Homeland Security ads, dumb cowboy photo shoots, private jets, and $143 million of mystery that we don't know where that money went because she's so good at her job. Now, the point of this video is not to make excuses for these women. I think that they've proven time and time again that they are horrible people and they don't deserve good things, and I don't think anybody is really arguing that. What I really want to do in this video is point out the ways in which this administration uses women to stand there and justify men's crimes, and almost to take the full brunt of what these men have done and then be publicly scrutinized for it while actively deflecting from the fact that the men are the ones that did the horrible things. I have seen these women, Caroline Leavitt, Pam Bondi, and Kristi Noem, defend this administration 10 times more than I have seen any of the men that are a part of this administration. Stephen Miller, Kash Patel, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, etc. Why aren't those men being put in hearings? Why aren't those men standing behind podiums and defending the actions of this administration? Why did Hillary Clinton give a deposition about Bill before Bill gave a deposition about Bill? I don't even like Hillary, but Bill was the one that was in the files. Why aren't you talking to him? The bottom line is that patriarchy will always try to find a way to blame women and to put women in a disadvantaged position. And this administration is doing that tenfold. Men are responsible for nearly every issue that Americans are facing, from ICE to Epstein to war. But not only do they not serve jail time for it, they get to keep their jobs and positions of power, and they don't need to answer for any of it. Why? Because the women are answering for it. Do you see where I'm going? They use these women as pawns, and then they can say, oh, well, we have women in power. Look, our Homeland Security Secretary is a woman, and our White House Press Secretary is a woman, and our Attorney General is a woman, knowing that these positions are the positions that are going to take all of the public backlash for everything that the administration has done. And if they fall short, or if the public hates them too much, then they can be demoted, just like Kristi Noem. Women did not capture the Venezuelan president. Women did not bomb Iran. Women did not assault the children in the files, minus Ghislaine Maxwell. Why is all of the public scrutiny going toward the women? Because they set themselves up that way. And they knew it from the beginning. They knew that these women were going to be taking the heat. When I say no woman is qualified to take Kristi Noem's position, it's not because women aren't qualified to lead, it's because no woman has caused enough damage to be answering for these men's crimes. I'm very glad that the new Homeland Security Secretary is a man. He's a horrible man, and I'm really looking forward to watching him try to defend the administration instead of everyone shitting on the women who are horrible women but did not commit the crime. Mark Wayne Mullen, you're going to be horrible at your job, and I cannot wait to watch you fail. And as my good friend Lysandra said in her video recently,
this is why being male-centered is never going to pay off for you pick-me-ass little bitch.
the patriarchy is strong, especially inside this administration, but at least now they have one less public diversity pawn. The system is not changing. This is not some large cultural success, but it will be nice to see a man fumbling behind the mic for once. If you want to read more about this, I would highly recommend going over to my Substack. I have all of the information laid out. All of the content over there is completely free, but this is how I make my money, so I would greatly appreciate any support you're willing to give. Thank you for listening to my rant and watching me not really complete a puzzle at all. I appreciate you. I love you. Stay safe, stay gay, and have a good day.